Alright, so tonight I'm going to walk you guys through how to laser engrave a photo. This is white acrylic painted blue. It's a little blotchy with the light showing through, and the paint's still a little bit tacky, but I'm getting impatient, so we'll just go ahead and run it. We'll turn the lights off in the machine, and then that way you're going to be able to see exactly what's going on. And this is going to simulate a backlit photo in the real world here. First things first, I'm just going to go ahead and walk you guys through the photo editing process here. Right now we're in light burn. Let me switch out to GIMP here. So this is the photo we're going to be doing. Let me go ahead and zoom out. This is what we're going to be doing here, and once you guys get the plugin installed, you'll find V3 right up here. And next thing we're going to do is we're going to remove the background, but to remove background you must color it 100% white. So you come over here to your swatches, you make sure your hexadecimal code here is 6 Fs, and that will be 100% white, or you can simply drag the slider up into the farmost left corner there. It's already set to 100% white. So next thing we're going to do, now this gets a little bit tedious if you got a really busy background, you need to put a little more work into it or whatnot, but you grab the fuzzy select tool here. My threshold is 24. It's going to select the edge pretty good. So what you're going to do is you're going to click your left mouse button and hold, and you can see right there it's kind of creeping inside the photo, so you're just going to simply drag, oh, wrong way, drag your mouse out until it makes a better selection, like so. Let go of the mouse button, and now we are going to come over here and we are going to edit and fill with the background color that's 100% white. Now you didn't see much happen there. I'll go ahead and fill it black for you just so you can see. That's what happens. But even though it's white already, we just like to make sure that it's 100% white. Otherwise that will get processed. So once this is selected, you can see the marching ants going around it there. You come up here and you go to edit and copy, and then you'll come down here to your layers panel and you will create a new layer group and simply press Ctrl V to paste your selection. I'll turn off the photo layer so you can see our circle there. Now next you're going to want to highlight your photo layer, come up here to the select menu and select none so we can get rid of that selection. And now we're going to simply run the plugin here like so. You guys can minimize this warning window here, and this should be about 11 and a half or so. We'll use the tile option. I'm just going to go ahead and use I'll use this resolution 285 here. Probably get things done a little quicker, and it will still look decent, I'm sure. I just did a backlit photo for a customer right before this, so it's pretty fresh here. So you just press OK, and it'll process the photo. You can see I cleared the memory on the machine. We don't have any files in here yet, and we're going to send that over from Lightburn here. Okay, our photo should be done processing, and it's going to go ahead and automatically invert it for you. So the next thing you're going to do is you're going to go to File, Export As, and I'm going to export it as a TIFF file. And I'll name this tutorial. Press export. I already had one named tutorial from last night, so I'll name it tutorial 2. You know what, guys? I actually forgot something important. Okay, so before you export, right-click your layers panel and hit Flatten Image. If I were to save this as a JPEG, GIMP would have just crashed on me. But if GIMP crashes on you, you'll have the option to recover it. And now I'm just going to go ahead and export this again. Sorry guys, it's hard to hold the camera and type and whatnot. So I'll name it Tutorial 2. Export. Okay. Now we're going to go ahead and go over to Lightburn. And once we're in Lightburn, we'll press Control I to import the photo. This was our source image here. This is the one we just processed in GIMP. And here we are. Now what we're going to do is, I don't know the settings, and we're going to figure this out together. I'm going to show you guys how I calibrate a photo when I really have no idea what the settings will be. So this is my method here. First things first, always use pass-through mode when you use one of the scripts, because this is going to pass it through to your machine as if it just left GIMP itself, and it's going to be untouched. It's not going to get any other effects applied to it. Like if you didn't have pass-through mode on, it would apply more effects, and you don't want that. That'll be destructive to the editing process. So my machine probably fires around 10% or so. I'm going to go ahead and I'll just do 10%. So what I'm doing is I'm starting it so low. I know it's probably not going to mark the substrate. Maybe it will a little bit, especially since we have a light underneath it. So you're going to see all the detail really well this way. So maybe this will mark it, but it's definitely not going to be our final settings. Now, since GIMP already inverted it using the tile option, you only have, yes, pass through with all scripts, Sean. Nice name. You do not have to select negative image because it's already a negative. If you were to turn this on, then it would turn this a positive. But you're not going to see it happen on this screen. Maybe in the preview you'll see it. So what I'm doing here is I'm going to lock the speed to 180. We're not going to change the speed, because what we're trying to do is we're trying to create a balance with the power and focus at this given speed. Now afterwards, we can increase the speed once we have a baseline power that's already perfect, okay? So when you increase the speed next, you know, if you were to start another photo or just try to get your machine going a little faster, when you increase the speed, you'll also bump up the power just a little bit. So first, I would bump up the speed to, like, let's say 210 millimeters per second. I run in millimeters. It doesn't really make a difference what you run in, inches or millimeters. You just got to know the conversions, you know, if you want to try to use these settings. But that's the worst thing you can do, is try to use someone else's settings or suggested settings, really for anything that you do with your laser, because there's so many different variables that determine how that person used those settings. You know, their tube life, the lens they're using, you know, is their focus on point, and were the settings maybe just mediocre because they settled for mediocre. You don't know. So what we're going to do here is we're going to find the perfect settings, and we're going to increase these from the keypad. Don't mind my mess on the floor back there. We're going to increase the power from the keypad slowly. When we start, you know, 10% probably won't do nothing. We'll probably bump it, I don't know, 0.5% at a time. And eventually we're going to get down to bumping it up in tenths, 0.1%. And when it's riding the line of perfect, if you change the power, you know, start changing it 0.1%, you're gonna see the difference. Especially on like something that's not backlit. Maybe we'll see on this. I don't really know, but we'll find out together. So I almost forgot to turn on pass-through. So make sure pass-through is active. This is very important. If you're using RD Works, the option is called Output Direct. Okay, that'll do the same thing as pass-through mode in Lightburn. I always use air. I keep my air on full. I just have the stock fish pump. And I'm also using a 2.5 inch lens. So now we'll just go ahead and we'll send this over to the machine. We'll name it tutorial. I have 0 files on my machine right now. I can't type, but oh well. You get the drift. Okay, so watch the file come in here. I'm not hooked up to Ethernet, I'm hooked up to USB because this laptop does not have an Ethernet port, which is kind of a downfall. But here's our photo loaded up here. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna press frame now because I'm gonna show you guys something cool to adjust your focus. So always frame your job first before you do the next step I'm gonna show you. Make sure it fits, it should. It should probably be right on the money. Maybe I have this tile here because what I'm doing is I'm blocking out the light I have underneath there. Okay? So I don't want that to get in the way of our visual here. So, you know, maybe when it starts out, the air will be over this tile and it's, you know, it might affect the photo just a little bit, but we're not making a perfect photo to start. We're gonna make this photo from nothing with messed up settings. I'm actually gonna go ahead and all right, so I don't know what happened. It booted me off. I'm glad you guys are still here. So anyways, this is my focus gauge now. You guys can see the little lines on there. So my paint's still a little bit tacky. I don't want to set this on there. But we're going to go ahead and we're going to drop this this Z-table down here. Nice and far. Way out of focus. This is a 2.5 inch lens. It's way out of focus, okay? So we're going to go ahead and destroy that now. And we're going to completely mess up these settings. I'm going to go ahead and press start right now. And the first thing we're going to do is try to get it in focus. The problem here that we're going to run across is I probably don't have enough power to mark the substrate, so we'll probably have to bump the power up once I feel like we're getting close to the focal point. So I'm going to go ahead and press start. Well, let me shut the lights off in the machine first here. That way we're going to be able to see. So I'm going to go ahead and, oh wait, before I press start, very important. It's gonna take a while to bring the Z up to focus this way, but I wasn't thinking. I'm really far, but okay. So after you frame your job, it framed at 91 millimeters per second. After you frame your job, you're gonna go ahead and use your arrow keys, and you're gonna set this to the lowest speed you can, followed by enter. Now, if I move the laser head, it's actually moving, but it's moving 1 millimeter per second. So we don't want to frame the job this slow. You'll be sitting there all day. But if by chance you accidentally do, hurry up and press escape. And by the time it frames and it comes down, and when it makes this turn right here, and if you press escape really quick turn your speed up to 100 or whatever. By the time it makes that turn, it'll speed up. Otherwise, you're gonna sit there for a few minutes while it frames that slow. So the reason we're doing this is because we can bring it in, we can adjust the Z height, so we can bring it into focus and really dial the focus in, moving the Z table that slow when the photo is running. So I'm gonna go ahead and press enter. Just gonna go ahead and press escape real quick, make sure I'm back to my origin point there. And now I'm gonna go ahead and press start. Now we're way out of focus, so bear with me. We gotta raise this Z table up quite a bit, 1 millimeter per second. So I'm gonna go ahead and press start. It's quite obvious nothing's happening. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm going to press the ZU button. Okay, so on my machine, up is down, down is up. They're inverted, so I got to re-invert. I got to invert that in Lightburn software, I suppose. But I'm not going to worry about that now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start raising my Z table up by pressing the ZU button, and your arrow keys will now, your left and right arrow keys will now raise and lower it. So I'm just going to go ahead and raise this up slowly. It's creeping up. Okay, you can hear the air changing. Okay, now that I feel like we're getting kind of close, I'm gonna go ahead and bump the power up. We might be too far on the focus as of right now, but now we're just gonna press the escape key to get out of this menu. And now to raise your power, we're gonna work in one direction and one direction only. So we're gonna raise the power up to, you can use your arrow keys after pressing speed. Okay, and we're gonna bump it up 0.5%, followed by enter. Now, if I were to press max power and raise the power, then my minimum would become separated from my max, and we don't want that for photos. So to raise your power, you use min power. To lower your power, you use the max power button, okay? Set your setting, press enter. Okay, I'm still not seeing nothing, so I'm gonna go ahead, come back to the controller, press ZU, and I'm going to keep raising the Z table up. Now, if you don't have an automated Z table, you can use the hand crank cart, and you can dial that in pretty close too. Okay, I think that might be a little too much, not enough power. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna bump it up to 10.9. Now you see nothing's happening yet. That's fine. There we go. There we go. Now we're seeing something. You see that? Okay, but it's still right down there in the middle. There's supposed to be detail. Let me see if I can zoom in on this YouTube here. Okay. Now I'm going to keep adjusting the Z. Just bumping that button now. I'm just going to keep bumping it because it's going to move a little less than 1 millimeter per press if you bump it. I don't know if you guys can hear it. Now I'm gonna actually boost the power up here just a little bit. We'll give it 0.2 more. Go to 11.1 from 10.9, and we'll see now you're starting to get a little bit brighter, but there's still supposed to be detail right in here too. All the way across, you're supposed to get a line of detail. Unless it's a solid black location. So you can start seeing it come together. So I'm gonna bump the Z some more to bring it into focus, and now we're starting to see something here. Don't settle for mediocre though. We're gonna bring this all the way up past perfect, because then we're gonna know where perfect was. I'm still bumping the Z. Okay, and now since we have that little bit of detail, I'm gonna press the escape key to get out of the Z menu, and I'm gonna bump up the power 0.2%, followed by enter. I press min power first. Okay, now we should start seeing just a little bit more coming in. Okay, now that we have just a little bit more power, I'm going to press the ZU button again, and we're going to bump the focus a little bit more. If you listen carefully, you can hear it start coming into focus because it will start digging just a little bit. Now we don't want to get too bright because this is backlit under here. There's a light under there. Okay, so this is simulating what it's going to actually look like when there's a light behind it. So now I'm trying to get a little bit more detail over in these darker areas because there probably should be something there. You can kind of faintly see right here. You see that? You can faintly see a little bit. So we still got a little bit more work to do on the focus, I do believe. But just to be sure, I don't get the best focal point. So I'm just going to bump it 0.3%. And that should give us an idea if it's our focus now or if we need more power. And there's a little bit more detail coming in between in the dark blue there up top there. There's a little bit more coming in. So I'm gonna bump the focus a little bit more. And a little more. Now you can see it. You can see it starting to drop some dots in there. You guys see that? In that darkest blue area there. I'm gonna bump it just a little bit more. Now if I could hold steady, you can see the round dots. Okay? That's a good sign. You see down in the bottom here, they weren't as bright. You see that? Okay guys, we're starting to get there. I'm just gonna bump it just a little bit more. The focus. I'm actually raising the Z up again, just a little bit. Okay, they're getting a little bit brighter and a little bit cleaner. You see how nice those are looking over there? Now, this is only 285 DPI, so it's not going to get too crazy detailed, but it'll be a good photo, guys. I'm gonna bump the Z just a little bit more. Actually, since the focus is just about there, I'm gonna escape out of here. And I'm gonna bump the power up. And how do we do that? We press the minimum power, remember, to raise it. And come back here and watch it for a second. We're real close to this photo, guys, so you know when you start backing away from it, it'll start coming together. I don't know how well you guys are going to see it with those lights on down there, though. It's kind of affecting your visual there. But as you can see, you know, it really started out looking like garbage. There's a whole bunch missing down here just because everything was out of whack. So what we're doing is we're bringing everything back up to where it needs to be. I'm gonna give it just I'm just gonna bump the focus now. Now I don't know if it's focus that still needs work or power, but we're just about there. So I'm gonna keep working the Z height the same direction. And if you watch in the darkest blue area right there, you can see those dots dropping there. And I can hear the beam scratching a little bit. I'm gonna give the focus one more little bump. Okay. And now I'm gonna bump the power. We're at 11.8. We're gonna press the minimum power button. Raise it up to 11.9, followed by enter. I will take pictures of this backlit when we're done. You guys will be able to see it a lot better then. It's really hard to see in this video because there's that light behind it. And if you go and look at the processed photo, I'm just gonna be real patient here and let that run for a second. And if you come over to your processed photo and you zoom in real close, you see this? This is exactly what we're looking for on our substrate. And as long as you get every detail there, and your brightest whites are actually black, so you're gonna have a couple little white specks in your deepest blacks. You'll be able to count these, you know, you just play matchmaker with it. Let me turn the light off here real quick and see how it looks. Yeah, Mo, you know me, it's late. You know, that's when it's quiet here. What are you doing up? How you been, Mo? I haven't talked to you in a while. Okay, guys, so right here is going to be a good example right here. So you see this brightest white here and that anchor there? You see how we got something funky going on right there, okay? So either we've got too much power or the focus is off just a little bit yet. We're gonna go check the processed photo real quick in that location. Oh no, I just bumped the machine. That's not gonna be good. Okay. This is worse. Okay, so it's supposed to be pretty solid white. Since the blacks are whites, it's a negative. And then you're supposed to have all these little black specks in here. Okay, so that's telling me since we're not seeing this very clean yet, we got more work to do on the focus, and possibly we've got too much power right now. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna drop the power down a little bit and see if we can't get these details back in there. If I drop the power about 0.3%, and I'm not exactly getting this clean detail in there, then I'm going to keep adjusting the focus. You can see it. I mean, it's kind of there, but it's kind of not. So I'm gonna, like I said, I'm gonna drop the power back down 0.3%. Press OK. Enter, I mean. Just gonna come in here and we're gonna see if we can start. You guys, man, I wish we could see better. It doesn't look very clear tonight. It was clear last night. So where we're watching now is we're watching right where it's burning, right up there on the top, and you'll start seeing it come to life. You know what's getting me is the rest is pretty clean, like right up in here. That's pretty clean. So the focus seems to be all right. So it's getting a little bluer. You know, it's supposed to be kind of like a brighter white anyhow, but I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna drop the max. Okay, so to drop the power, you press max power to lower your power, and I'm gonna go down 0.3%. Didn't we? Oh, you know what happened? Okay, last time I pressed minimum power. So that's 11.6, that's 11.6. Okay, now we're down 0.3. Now you see what happened there? There you go. Now we're getting more in there. Let me unplug this light quick, just for now. Okay, now you guys see how the blue dots are getting thicker in this bright white area there. You see that? Versus down, it's hard to look through the camera and point. Down here versus the top of there. You see how you're pulling more detail in there? But it's kind of got a blue haze from the paint left in there. You see that slight light blue in there? Now we're going to try to adjust the focus and get that out of there. So let's go see where we're at on the Z. Oh, I'm way zoomed in here. Okay. Just give it 3 little bumps. Now the blue dots are getting even darker. We're just trying to get it to clean up that white just a little bit more. Okay. So I'm going to come back here to the Z height. I'm going to give it a couple more clicks there. You don't have to press enter on that. There we go. All right. Now we're starting to come alive here, and you can see in the paw there's a blue haze, but we're past that point already. Now, right in here, I'm going to try to get a little more detail in there. So I am going to, now that we've adjusted the focus, I'm going to turn the power back up just a little bit. Okay, maybe I'll give the focus 2 more little bumps first and see what happens. Okay, just a little bit more. Go 4 clicks, see what happens. Okay, so now we are going to, we'll bump that power up just a little bit. We're going to go up, so we're going to press min power. We'll give it 2 clicks. Now we're clearing up that blue haze. Now it's more white behind there with just the black dots left. It's not quite as bad as it was. You guys see that? We're looking way up top there where the change just happened. I don't even know how far we're zoomed in, but we're zoomed in pretty dang far. I'm gonna boost the power up. Actually, I'm gonna adjust the Z. 3 more clicks first. Now we're getting rid of that blue between the dots up there. That's good. That's just from the focus change there last time. And now I think we just need a little bit more power. Just a little more power, and we'll be sitting pretty good here, I think, for a little bit. We'll be patient with it. We'll put it up 0.2 to 12%. Now you guys can see all the white acrylic, you know, above the engraving there. You see it's all getting pushed forward because of my my ghetto tape job on my air assist line, because I don't use them cones. They just destroy your work. They dirty it up real nice. The air blows straight down from the center and then blows it backwards onto your work. Also, guys, you guys see, I just thought about this. You guys see that blue haze? Let me show you quick. Let me just... You see that? The paint's still tacky, so we're not exactly, we're kind of shooting ourselves in the foot from the get-go, but we'll be all right. All right, I'm gonna bump up the power a little bit more. We're probably gonna need a little bit more power since the paint's still kind of wet. We'll go to 12.3, 0.3 more. I don't know if you guys can start hearing the beam now, but it's getting louder. And it's getting cleaner. Coming together. Also, this is not black paint, so if you're used to seeing black and white, that can throw you off a little bit too. Let me plug this light back in quick. See where we're sitting with that. Yeah, it gets really blown out for you guys because it just doesn't do good on camera, I suppose. It's too bright. But if I get closer, you guys can kind of see a little bit better. See, we've see all that blue haze right there and the brightest white. Watch it fade to white. See that? You guys see how that's... You see all that haze? Right there between all those dots and the brightest white there. Right here, you see all that blue haze? And it fades away. You see that? We're starting to get these settings together here now. Now again, guys, this is only 285 DPI, so it can get really realistic, but it's probably not going to be as realistic as it can be at this resolution. But this makes it easier for me to show you guys what's happening with the changes, because when you go higher resolution, all these little dots, they get even smaller and closer together. So it's good to see how it comes together at a lower resolution, so, and practice at a lower resolution so you know what to look for, because nothing's going to change when you go higher, except your power will be less. You'll use less power if you go higher resolution. If you go larger resolution, if you go higher resolution, you'll use less power. When you go larger resolution, you use more power, because you have to burn more paint away between the details versus a lower resolution where you're not burning as much away between, because everything's so compressed and tight together. What I'm going to do here now is I'm going to press minimum power. We're going to bump it up 0.2% again. And we'll try to get this looking good without the light on behind it for now. I wish I had another light above it. But we'll brighten it up with power. But you guys can look at all that white acrylic back there. You see it's all blowing towards the back of the machine back there. That's because of how I have my airline taped at 6 o'clock there. So right now it's just sweeping left and right, and it's just blowing everything forward, keeping it off the work. Luckily it's doing that because this paint's still tacky. See my fingerprint there still. The paint's still tacky, so all that stuff would be sticking, and maybe there's a little bit of a haze there. But what I'll do is I'll let this dry until tomorrow, and then I'll rinse it off. All right, so I think what I'm gonna do now, I'm gonna bump the focus up just a little bit more and just see what happens. See if it gets worse, gets better. If the beam gets louder, it's getting better. It's kind of hard to hear over the air though. Give it another bump. Okay, it's getting a little bit louder. I'm gonna go ahead and pause this real quick and check my gauge. It should be, we're getting close, but you see I'm kind of destroying the photo, putting stuff on it because the paint's still wet. So the focus is getting close though. It's almost there. I'm just gonna go ahead and raise it up 2 more clicks, and that should just about put us to where it needs to be. So now we're starting to get into focus. And you got to keep in mind that this whole run, all the way up until we're perfect now, that line it's scanning right now, all this is garbage. None of this looks right because your settings aren't right. If we were to start over right here with about the settings we have now, I think we just have a little bit more work to do on the power. But when you start over, maybe we got some room left over up top there. Maybe I'll go ahead and once we get this dialed in a little bit more, we'll go ahead and start this over with the current settings, and then the rest of the photo will come together and it won't look like garbage. Because up here it's starting to look real good. There's a little bit more work to do right in there. Just gotta brighten that white up just a little bit more in there. You can see the pup there, he's starting to come together nicely. So we're pretty much on focus now. Man, my back hurts. Hang on, I gotta stretch. Okay, bear with me guys. I've been standing all day here. All right, so what I'm gonna do now is I'm just gonna bump the power up a little more because we're just about at power. That's all we need. Power, or also if you're not exactly piercing through the paint, revealing white, and you've got so much power to where your whites, your brightest whites, see right here, we still got detail there, so we can still spare some more power, but eventually when you start getting too high a power and you start burning this detail away, you're gonna blow out your image, okay? And you're gonna start missing dots, and the more detail you miss, the worse it's gonna look. So instead of increasing power, you can decrease the speed, and the speed slowing down will help pierce through the darker areas, because what we need to do is we need to get through the darker areas just a little bit more, right? So, but if we have too much power, if we use power, we're gonna start erasing the details in there. So that'll throw us off balance. So what you need to do at that point is you need to slow it down so it has more time to pierce through that paint. Since the paint's wet, I mean, this is a really good example, guys, of like garbage in, garbage out, because, well, not out, but the paint's still tacky. So, I mean, if you're still getting a decent looking photo and the paint's tacky, I mean, it's a good learning example because it's harder to pierce through. I'm not going to mess with the speed yet, because 180 millimeters per second should be slow enough. You know, eventually if you start going too fast, like 500 millimeters per second or whatnot, even 350, you know, you start going too fast and the laser is not going to be able to fire the beam fast enough to put the detail on your substrate. So you'll be missing detail and you'll be blurring what you're burning. I'm going to raise the power, press minimum power to go up. 2 more clicks. And we're going to start watching the darker areas here. You see it's piercing through, but it's not really hitting the white and bringing the white out. And we still got detail in those brightest whites, so that tells me we can still go higher with the power. We still got it there. It's real clean right there in those whites. We can give it more power, so that's what we're gonna keep doing. So we will press minimum power to go up, and then we're gonna go to 13. We'll go to 13.2. I'm gonna bump it up a little bit, and hopefully you guys can see what that 3/10 does, where it's already at. But the closer we get to perfect, when I start changing at 0.1% at a time, you'll start seeing what happens. It should actually change the shade of the photo a little bit. Okay, let's check these whites out. We still got detail in there. We're trying to brighten up these ones right here. right in here. It's starting to get down to the white, which is good. So you guys can see. Look carefully. It kind of lightens up there, guys. It's starting to lighten up, and so is the rest of the photo. So we're coming together. We're gonna give it 3% power. Okay, we still got detail in the brightest whites. We can still get a little bit more power out of it. Starting to come together though. So instead of grayscale, this is going to look blue scale, since we're using blue paint here, which is a little different look, but I'm out of black paint, so I apologize. We will bump the power up a little more. We'll go 3/10 more. Now guys, if I was doing this without a tutorial, I could get the settings right very quick. By the time we're to here, I could get the settings perfect already, because I already know a baseline of power, you know, that I typically burn at. Once you catch the eye for it, you'll learn a lot. You know, you'll learn where to start your power. Like I knew 10% power was going to be way too low. We're already at 13.8. You know, and like to start, I would jump to 1% at a time instead of going micro adjustments using tenths or 0.5% or whatnot. But I'm trying to show you guys, trying to walk you through how it comes together with micro changes. Okay, now I could go ahead and bump up the power 1% right now, and maybe it'll be perfect. Maybe we still need 2% more, but I'm just going to keep walking it up a few tenths of a percent at a time. We'll go to 14.1 now. And we're going to keep bumping this power up, guys, until we start getting destructive. And then once you start getting destructive, then you know you passed perfect. And if it's still not perfect, then you need to slow down or check your focus. I would check your focus, because this is a good speed to go to dial in your settings. After we find the baseline of a speed, you know, the power with this speed, then we could go ahead and we could up our speed and power together and get this running a lot faster and be much more profitable. You can look at all that acrylic dust. I mean, look at it. It's making another chain link. You see that? Look at that. It hasn't even been engraved yet. If I had that air assist cone, all of that would be back on your photo. Engraving it over it and whatnot. See, so right in here, we're getting a little bit brighter, and we still got the details in the whites. Okay, that's there. Okay, so we're good. We haven't surpassed the power yet. So, but you can see it's really starting to come together. Now remember, everything below the current line it's scanning is garbage. The way this looks, I mean, it looks all right, okay? But these are all garbage settings from the line it's currently burning since my last change. So if we start this over, it'll look real clean like the rest of it. Okay. Okay, you can see over here now. You can see this you know, starting to fade brighter. That's because we're walking up the power and it's punching through more, revealing more white, like how it's supposed to be, okay? So we're gonna keep bumping the power a little more. We haven't surpassed the power yet. We got more to go. I just moved it up 3/10 more. Press minimum power. Use your arrow pad to key in your power, followed by enter. I'm hearing that beam. I'm hearing that beam pretty good now. We're getting there. We're real close. We're real close. Go 3 more. It's getting brighter. See, we still see in the dog collar there, that bright white triangle there, stud or whatever you want to call it. We can still use more power because we still have the detail there. You're gonna start erasing that detail when you get too much power. That's how you'll know. Okay, it's coming to life, guys. I can hear that beam now. I don't know if you guys can hear it, but it's getting louder. That's good. That means we're focused and it's getting to be enough power. Let's go to 15 now. I can't believe it's been 46 minutes already. Where'd the time go? It's coming alive. What do you guys think? Should we just get right to it and start this photo over above it? So you guys can see how it'll look when it's burning, when all of it's clean. Because like I said, everything from where it's currently at down is garbage. Makes a big difference if you have all the detail there or not yet. Okay, so I know these eyes got a little bit of a shadow in them, but I think we can get them a little bit brighter. But you can see, look at that, half that eye. You see from the bottom of the eye to the top, you see how it's lightened. That's good. We're definitely getting there. Yes, we're definitely getting there. And this area over here is fading the white pretty nice from a dark blue. I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna crank it up to 16 because we're about 3/4 of the way done with this photo already. Now you hear that scratching, and look it. Oh shoot! Sorry. See how, see how, see how clean those dots just got? Where did it go? See the shape of them? Oh, I can't focus on it. Well, there's a reason I make processes, because I've started with photograph, I've used light burn, and you know, go look at the 3D photo I did last night on wood. You're not going to get that in light burn. I mean, it's decent, but it's mediocre. Honestly, it really is. We got some. We do have some paint dust. We got some paint dust sticking in the eyes. You see that funky area there and that funky area there? That's dust from the acrylic. I mean, it's taken away from it a little bit, but not too bad. It's starting to come to life, guys. I'm going to give it just a little more power. I'm going to go another 0.5%. I really want to get it to the point, the breaking point, where you guys are going to see it change over. Look, you see how crowded this is, and the dots aren't very round and clean. But then up here, you see it's really starting to widen up and brighten up and starting to come to life there. Let's give it some more power. This is a lot more than I thought it was going to be. I really thought we were going to be around 12% or so. But like I said, you know, this, you see my fingerprint in the paint there, and it's probably still tacky. Yeah. I mean, we shot ourselves in the foot from the get-go here, but we're doing all right. We're doing all right. You guys see how good it's starting to look? Coming together. Let's bump it up some more. Go 0.4%. We should be getting real close to the top end here, and before it's going to start getting destructive. And you know, maybe I'll start the photo over on this side. I was kind of hoping to save that for something else, but I'm not a fan of this blue paint. Yeah, you see right there, and that all this right here That's dust, see that? So that's taken away a bit. You know, I might have too much power. I mean, you don't really know until you rinse that dust off, but you know, from my experience, we're not at too much power yet. I've worked through plenty of dust before it would be much worse, guys, if I had that air assist cone on here. It really would. It would be covering all of this. We got a shadow down here from the gantry, but remember now, everything now from here down is garbage. Even though it's starting to look good, but you know, none of this matters because it wasn't right. It's not the current setting where we're at here. Look at all that dust accumulating. See, it's starting to pile up now. So, you know, I got that little fish tank air pump, so it's having a hard time blowing it across the sticky paint. I'm gonna go ahead and turn on that light again real quick. You know, it gets really hard for you guys to see with that on. But you can look at the difference from the bottom to the top. You see that? You guys saw how it looked before with the light on, and now it's getting much cleaner looking. We still got some more work to do on the power. I bumped it up 0.3% more. It's starting to look good though. I wish we could get that dust out of there right now. That kind of sucks, but what do you do? You know, just for the heck of it, I'm gonna hit the focus one more time. One more little click. You seen that deeper blue triangle there? It's starting to pierce through some more there. Getting a little bit rounder. Okay, I'm gonna give it some more power. We'll give it 0.6% more. That should really get it moving here. There's a super bright area right there. Let's go check that part in the hat in the processed photo. should be, yeah. See, the blacks now are white, remember, it's a negative. So what we're looking for is a super bright area with a couple little blue specks, since we're using blue paint. Okay, so there's a couple there. There's a couple missing. So now we have two options. We can lower the power, but then you're gonna lose in your darkest areas. You're gonna lose in here. Or we can speed it up a little bit to leave more paint behind. So we're gonna speed it up a little bit. Now I told you not to touch the speed, but I'm just showing you guys a real world scenario here. We're gonna go 10 millimeters per second faster. Now we're already past that point, so we're not gonna really be able to go back and see if we're gonna get that detail there or not, because we're past that already. But what we can do is we can find another super bright area when one comes along, and we can see what we're leaving behind there. You gotta let it scan over a few times though, so you can get some new detail burned in there. Now, I don't know if there's supposed to be anything in that. Let's go check that out. Okay, that was okay. There's supposed to be, let me see where we're at here. Yep, that's where we're at. We're right here. Okay, so we're supposed to have a whole bunch of little blue dots in here. All this black is white, remember, and the white's gonna be blue. So we need to leave more blue in there. And I don't think we are right now. Let's see. Oh wait, yes we are. Okay, I was looking at the wrong spot. We need to look at this stripe right here. That's right here. Okay, so it's supposed to be like that. And get a couple little dots in there. Okay, we gotta go faster because we're not leaving enough behind there. Let's bump it up to 200 real quick. We got a couple little blue specks in the middle there, but we're supposed to have more. Oh, sorry. Now you guys can see, look at that. Look at it. You see that? It's like 2 millimeters from there to the top. You see that? You see it got darker blue? You see that little faint blue line there? That's the result from speeding up. And look what's being left behind now on that. And that white up top there. See that? What's there? We're putting detail back by going faster. We're leaving a little bit more blue behind. And you can see that faint line right there where the color starts shifting. Look at all that dust in there, man. just looks horrible like that. But look at it, you see? Lighter, darker. We're simply just leaving a little more paint behind. Let's go a little bit faster. Two millimeters per second faster. Now it's hard to see with the stupid gantry shadow. That kind of sucks. But it doesn't matter because everything from here down now is garbage. Maybe the paint will be a little bit drier if I start over with these settings now. I'm gonna adjust the focus just one more. How about 2 clicks? I'm listening for the beam. I'm listening to see if it's getting quieter or louder. If it's getting louder, it's getting more focused. And if you really wanted to, you could crank the power up a little bit, like 5% more. Maybe I'll just go ahead and do that for you guys. I'll crank it up, and then we'll simply move the Z up and down, and we'll listen. And at its loudest point, let's just go up 1%, okay? I don't want to completely blow what we have going on here because we're getting pretty close. But if we go 1% and it becomes too much, we can just back it back down again. But I want to listen to that beam as I adjust the focus and make sure it's pretty sharp right now. Okay, I'm going to keep moving the focus just a little bit. Okay, it just went too far. You guys hear how quiet it got? Hear it getting louder? Now you see that line? You see that line there of it cleaning up there? That's just from bumping the focus just a little bit. Now I'm going to bring it back down the opposite way until it gets quiet. It's getting louder though, so we're getting more focused. And when it gets quiet again, you're on the opposite end of the focus than you were when it was quiet the last time. And then you're just going to bring it right back up to the middle where it's its loudest point. Okay. You guys see that line there, right? And right there, it's real thick blue. That line continuing, that white line, it gets real thick blue. Those dots in that white are clean. All right. I think we should pause it. I think we should move it on over this way and start again right here so we can start to see our fruits of our labor here, because I think we're about as good as we're going to get with this wet paint. It's still tacky, but what do you do? Maybe tomorrow I'll paint up some tile, go get some black paint, and I'll show you guys on tile also, because it gets real sensitive, tile does also. So I'm gonna go ahead and escape. Now look, now you see I'm pressing the button, but you see our laser head's barely creeping. Well, that's creeping because, remember now, I'm gonna go ahead and press escape so it goes back to its origin. It's because we set the speed for the Z. Well, not for the Z, we actually kind of tricked it a little bit so we can move the Z 1 millimeter per push of the button while the job's running, because we already had our speed programmed from when we sent it over to the laser. So it's going to run at that speed we sent it at, and whatever we set it here, it's just going to move the rest of the stuff out, such as the Z table. So now we're going to go ahead and move that back up to 91, and now our laser head moves as it should. Okay, let me go and try to blow that crap off that I just blew up over there. Blow it right back into the exhaust back there. There we go, all clean. All right. So now we're just going to press start and roll with what we had. Oops, let me move it up a little bit here. We got a little too low there. There we go. Nice round dot, got a nice bright white, getting through the deep blue there, which would be deep black. Look at all that dust already. See that? I mean, that's just crazy. But it's being blown forward. It's gonna be swept the whole way up like the other one was. You know, a little bit got caught in there or whatnot, but you know, it could be much worse. I should almost put my cone on right now and show you guys what would happen. It's insane what those air assist cones do to your work. You got more clearance too. You got 1.5 inches more clearance underneath. Let's give it just a little bit more power. It's okay to continue on with your settings if you have to, okay? Because we still don't know if you passed perfect or not yet, because this paint's not dry. Just trying to get a little bit brighter. That's it. We're just about there, I think. for real this time. I know it's been a 73 minutes, but this is how you dial it in, guys. I mean, this is all you got to do. And then, like, you know, you go on tile or whatnot, same thing. You go on wood, same thing. You go to granite, you know, that's a little bit different, needs a different process. But this is how you dial it in, you know, just with micro steps and your changes, and eventually it's going to come together the best it can be. Whenever my phone gets bumped like that, it's actually being a little careless there, and the head's bumping it. We'll bump it up to 20% now. See that round circle there? That round circle's a paint splatter because my paint can started leaking on me. I'm gonna go see if I have a tile painted somewhere. Bear with me. Nope, zero painted tile. Sorry about that. I'm gonna try to clean this up here a little bit. very gently. Kind of cleaning it up with a little bit of water. You see that dust was really tricking us there. Really tricking us. Let me put some more water on this here. Try to get cleaned up a little more here. Alright, that's much better. Much better. That dust was sure getting in our way. Let me find a paper towel here. Put a little more water on there. See if we can't clean this up a little bit more here. Get this dang dust out of here. It's really messing us up, covering it all. There we go. You just had to get some of that dust out of there. It was really terrible. You see, I paused it, so of course it put a line in the work, but what do you do? Don't pause your machine, I guess. I did move the head around a little bit, trying to wipe some of that dust out of there, blow the water out. I had put some water on there to kind of clean it out a little bit. It was just getting too messy and we couldn't see anything. Now it's looking how it should. And that little blue ring there, that's from my spray paint can leaking on me. That's why I like using that Duet stuff, because it's very consistent all the time. There we go. Now we're talking. Now we're talking. So here's where we started with our power. You know, nothing was happening. Then we brought it into focus, gave it more power all the way up, changed the focus more, got up to about there, but that's just covered in dust as well. If I clean that up, it'd look much better, like this down here. But up top here where we left off, we started with the settings here, and I believe I bumped the power up just a little bit more when we started this one. Kind of running out of light on that end. Casting a shadow on it. See, we got more dust in there again. Let's go ahead and pause it, and then we'll clean it up a little bit more, just so we can keep it clean and see what's going on. Bear with me, I'm going to set you down here, grab my paper towel and spill some water onto it. Gently wipe it because the paint's a little tacky yet. But the more of this garbage we get out of here, the better it's going to look. Bear with me here. Almost done. Kind of cleaning off ahead of it as well. Okay. See, that dust really affects what you're seeing. Just watch how quick it accumulates. Kind of got some paper towel debris in there. Try to wipe that away with my fingers quick here. Well, you guys sure are seeing a real world example of everything that can go wrong, from having tacky paint to terrible settings in the beginning of this one. We worked the focus and we worked the power upwards only, all the way up to the top of this one. That's also covered in a bunch of paint dust. And then once I felt we had decent settings, we went ahead and started over down here with those settings, and here's where we are. see this dark line here. It's from dust. Kind of dipping my finger in water and just kind of hitting it quick before I get zapped. Yeah, it was from dust. These little circular dots are called halftones. Now there is other processes I make that use dither. It's kind of a different feel. It's probably a little easier to use than halftones, but the halftones really come together nicely with this process. And it's just a matter of following along, guys, and just doing what I did here tonight in the last 90 minutes. It's not going to take you that long to do what we did here. I was just kind of going slow and making sure everybody understands what was happening. I'm going to go ahead and pause this again and clean it up a little more. Let me go grab another fresh paper towel here. Bear with me. The cleaner we keep it, the better it's going to look, and while we're viewing, I'm going to go ahead and clean this off real good. I don't want to scrub it too hard though, because our paint is still a little bit tacky. Okay, I'm almost done, guys. Hang on. All right. See, that paint dust really throws you off. The line in the middle there, that's from pausing it, obviously, and I was moving the laser head around, blowing the water around before. But now we're cooking. Yeah, I don't recommend pausing your machines. It'll, I don't know why, but sometimes it just puts lines in your work, and whether I move the laser head or not, it will leave a line. Did that on my last machine also. I formatted the memory before I started this whole tutorial. And you can see that dark line up top there again, that band there. Ooh, I almost spilt my water. That's because of dust, guys. That's how much it throws you off. And then you see it's dark like that, and then you'll just keep giving it more power, more power, more power, trying to make it brighter, right? But then when you get this thing over to the kitchen sink and you rinse it off, you're not going to have any detail left. because you've been deceived by the dust. This is a white acrylic painted blue, obviously. You can see all the dust. Look at all that dust that's piling up already. I just cleaned that not even a minute ago. It's looking good though. It's looking great. I wish I would have, cleaned this during the first 60 minutes. But everything from that top line, almost the top line, to the bottom is garbage. Garbage settings. But we did that intentionally. This one was supposed to be clean, but unfortunately I got lines in it now from cleaning the paint dust. Also guys, let your paint dry. The longer it cures, the better. But here's my settings: 210 millimeters per second, 20% power. Now typically on acrylic painted, white acrylic painted black, I'm at about 12% power. So all of this 8% power is because the paint's tacky. That's why. That's how much. Man, that's shocking. I've never really ran with it this tacky before, but we all learned something, I guess. That's a lot of extra power. All right, now you see that dark band from here up? That's dust. Watch. I'm gonna pause it. We'll sacrifice another line in the work, and then I'm gonna set you down quick, and I'm going to I'm just gonna dump a little water on it, and I'm gonna clean it with a paper towel very gently, trying not to smear the paint. Almost done. All right. I could scrub it a little bit harder and completely rid that, but we won't try to smear the paint. Every time I rub it, it gets thinner and thinner, I think, so. But you can hear that beam. There's still, I basically filled those holes with dust until I get this thing to the kitchen sink and rinse it, so it is what it is. But you can see how it's coming together from where we started with out of focus, 10% power, walk the power up, adjust the focus on its way up, ended there, also covered in dust. But then we started fresh here with the settings we left off with up here. So basically, this past 100 minutes, we've been overcoming this obstacle of dust and You know, we're still maintaining, it's still coming together. It's definitely a lot more promising than it was since I rinsed it off, that's for sure. Now I'm thirsty and don't have no water because it's contaminated, so Mountain Dew time it is, bear with me. All right, thank you. Look at all that dust again. I mean, this is just insane. But on the plus side, it's blowing it forward versus back onto the work, which would be even more destructive. You know, if your guys' work gets dusty like this, it's probably a good idea to do what I do and rinse it just a little bit, you know, with your finger and some water, or very gently with a wet paper towel or something, just to see where you're at. Because the last thing you're going to want to do is get to the kitchen sink after you run a photo, and then you're going to rinse everything away because you had too much power trying to brighten the photo up that wasn't bright because of the dust. I mean, besides the lines from pausing and the paint dust in there that's left over, it's looking pretty dang good. If you're just joining, these lines are from pausing. I have to keep cleaning the dust out of here. I'm going to go ahead and do that again right now. Actually, I'm going to pause it, dump some water on it, wipe it with a paper towel gently. Bear with me. Grabbing another paper towel here, and I'm going to just spill some water onto this photo. I suppose the more the merrier at this point. That should just about do. All right. Here we go. Looking good. Carry on. You guys ever hold a phone over the laser for an hour or 103 minutes? Really makes your back sore. What time is it anyways? So instead of grayscale, this is blue scale, since we're using blue paint here. I do prefer black paint, but I'm fresh out of black paint for the evening. Look at that dust already. I just cleaned it. Do you guys know how to check posts in YouTube? Like if you go to my channel, I can make a post and post a photo or whatnot. I think I'm gonna end this live, let this run out, I'll rinse it off, and then I'll make a post about it to show you guys the end result. Obviously there's gonna be lines in it, it's not exactly as perfect as I wanted it, but what do you do battling this dust? So just doing the best we can here. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and end this here, and I'll make a post in the YouTube section, the community section there, and you guys can see the end result when this is finished. So I'll make that post tonight, so just bear with me and go ahead and check back. Tomorrow I'll pick up some tile and some black paint, and we'll have another session, one where our end result will be perfect for you guys to see, because we won't be battling all of this dust through this wet paint. So thanks for watching, I appreciate it, and stay tuned for more.